Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Dano. Today, we will be talking about something very interesting, and that is the new UK visa route that came into effect on the 22nd of August last month. Yeah, it is not too late, and you're not late to the party either. So today, we'll be talking about everything you need to know about the UK scale-up visa that was just newly introduced, that came into effect on the 22nd of last month. So there are a lot of questions some people are asking. A couple of friends have asked questions about visa. So what is involved in it? Does it lead to settlement? Can I extend? What can I or can I not do with this visa? So, and that is why I'm making this video today, to address those questions. Welcome again to my channel. And so without much ado, let's get into it. So first of all, a scale-up visa is actually, as we know, the UK, like many other countries, are actually having shortage of labor in terms of shortage of skills in different key sectors of the economy. And the government, in its effort to bridge this gap, introduced different routes in which they open the door for foreign immigrants to actually come into the country and fill in these gaps. And that is exemplified in the ongoing care visa that a lot of people are applying for. So this one is another route actually that allows startup companies or scale-up companies to actually bring in people without going through the stress of getting a license, a sponsorship license. So for you to come in on the Tier 2 visa, your employer has to be a licensed sponsor. And for them to be a licensed sponsor, there are requirements they must meet. Now, scale-up or startup companies don't have to go through all of these, to actually be able to bring people in under this route. So we are going to talk about this route, and every other information you need to know about it will be given out to you. So first of all, what is a scale-up company? By the UK definition, the scale-up company is a company, I would say a startup company, that has had a consistent growth of at least 20% in the last 3 years. Does not have less than 10 employees from the beginning of these 3 years under consideration. So these are the companies that fall under the category of a scale-up. So that is one. So then let's go into the government. Every information I'll be sharing with you today will be directly from the UK government website. We'll be answering your questions right from there. So let's get into it. First of all, we will be going to now looking at the eligibility. What are these things that makes you eligible for this visa? We're going to go into details. First of all, you must have a confirmed job offer from an approved scale-up business for at least 6 months. Now, what does that tell you? First of all, an approved scale-up company, which means not every company is actually qualified to bring in people under this visa. That's number one. And number two, the minimum duration for the job offer must be at least 6 months. So anything less than 6 months does not qualify you. And then secondly, the government, your employer will give you, quote and unquote, a certificate of sponsorship. Now, I'm using quote and unquote because they are not actually sponsoring you. That is why you can leave them after 6 months. So after working with them for 6 months, and probably you don't see that job as giving you what you want or giving you that career fulfillment you want, or the environment is not conducive enough for you, or you don't see growth potentials in that role you are handling, you can actually leave that company without losing your license, your sponsorship. So that tells you that this company is not actually sponsoring you. The next one we'll be looking at also is that you have a job offer to do a job that is on the eligible occupation list. We're going to look at that as we proceed in this video. And also there's a minimum salary threshold that qualifies you for this startup visa. Now, the minimum threshold is £33,000. Your salary before deductions, annual salary, £33,000, or about £10, 10 pence hourly pay. So there are some jobs that give you a contract and they state their annual salary, while there are other ones that give you a contract based on hourly rate. So the hourly rate must not be less than £10, 10 pence. So those are the eligibility criteria in view, just an overview of that. We're going to go into details of this as we proceed in this video. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is what can you do or cannot do under the scale-up visa. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is what can you do under the scale-up visa. First thing is that you can work in a sponsored job for at least 6 months. Like I said before, after 6 months, you can leave. Some people may be tempted to want to leave before the 6 months. Now we're going to talk about the disadvantage of that as when we get to the part where we answer the questions around extending your visa, if you can extend that. So first of all, you work for your sponsored employer for at least 6 months. Now the next one says you can leave your sponsored job after 6 months. So the company that's actually sponsored you, on the companies whose name is in your what do you call it, your scale-up visa, you have to work with them for at least 6 months before you can leave them to another company. Another thing you can also do is that you can take on additional jobs, including becoming self-employed. So you can start up something for yourself, like a side hustle or business, and there are also companies that allow you to work as a self-employed person, which means you report your own tax, they pay your money, you actually report your own tax, and which means you can actually open a company and work with that company, earn money with that company, and actually do your annual tax returns. So you can work as self-employed under this visa. Another thing you can also do with this visa is that you can study under this visa. So if you get here, you can, and maybe your job your company give you a full-time job, you can decide to study on a part-time basis. Okay, depending on how the job is and how you're able to manage your time effectively. So that is one thing you can also do. And also, what you can do also, of course, you can do some voluntary jobs, some voluntary work, or charity work if you like. If you're the kind of person who like to volunteer for charities, go for like mental health things, you can actually volunteer under this visa. You are not restricted. You are not forbidden, so to say, from actually doing that. And that's also, of course, you can travel back to your home country or to any other country and come back. You are not restricted with that visa. Nothing else says you must stay in the UK all through your stay in all through while you're on that visa. No, you can actually travel and come back. Okay, now another interesting thing, of course, you can apply to settle permanently in the UK. You can apply for permanent residence, but that is actually, let me talk about that now because that is mentioned here. So first of all, if you are a student, if you come in as a student visa, you need to stay in the student visa route for 10 years to qualify to apply for permanent residency in the UK. Okay, and if you come in as a tier 2 visa, like a work visa, you are allowed to stay in the UK for a duration of 5 years, and then you can apply for your permanent residence. Now, the scale-up visa actually work like the tier 2 work visa, which means after 5 years of your stay in the UK, you can actually apply for permanent residence. Now, another thing also, very interesting thing you can also do is that you can also actually bring your family. If you're married, you can bring your spouse. If you have kids, you can bring your kids here. You're married with kids, you can bring your spouse and your kids here. So without any restrictions. So you can actually bring your family back over here to the UK under this scale-up visa. And also, now for you to qualify to apply for permanent residence, it means you have to stay in the UK for 5 years. Now, the initial scale-up visa that is given to you is for 2 years. You can actually extend that visa at the end of 2 years, but there are boxes that need to be checked. So what does that mean? There are criteria, there are conditions attached to your ability to actually extend that visa. And so after the initial 2 years, you can extend to another 3 years, making it 5 years. And after that 5 years, you will be eligible to apply for a permanent residency. So let's quickly look at the aspect of extension. What are those criteria that apply? So I'm going to quickly scroll up to this, and I'm going to click on extend your visa. So if you go to this point now, we'll talk about this extension. Now, there are 2 conditions that must be met. Remember, at the beginning of this video, I said you can change your employer after 6 months without losing your visa. Now, that is actually a criteria also for extending. What does that mean? What that means is that if you do not stay with your employer for at least 6 months before leaving, you're a first employer for at least 6 months before leaving, you will not be eligible. You will not be able to extend your visa. So the company whose name is in the certificate of sponsorship, and that's the first, of course, the company that gave you the first job that brings you to the UK, you must stay with them for at least 6 months. Yeah, you are allowed to leave after 6 months, to look for a better job or something. Maybe the location is a problem and you want to move to another location For example, you might get a job in London, and you come in there, I said the cost of living is over the roof and you can't afford it, or you're not able to save or do some other things because of the cost. Now, if you manage yourself there for 6 months, after that 6 months, you can move to a cheaper, a more affordable place, can look for a job in a more affordable place and then move there. So that is a condition, a criteria. And another one is that you must meet the earning requirements. Remember, I said your annual salary must be at least £33,000. So if at the point where you want to extend, you are not earning up to that, that may be a problem. That means if the company you are working with at the moment, I want to extend the sponsorship, the scale-up visa, if you're not earning up to £33,000, you may not be able to extend. Now, apart from that, there are also other things that are under the earning requirement. Let's look at it deeper again. Now, if you look at the earning requirements here again, you say you must earn a monthly salary equivalent to at least 33,000 yearly during half of your stay. Your visa is for 2 years. Okay, so what that means is that for at least 1 year that you are under your visa, you must earn at least the minimum threshold. So, the mistake some people may want to do is that they come here, and once they get here, they leave that job and they go to another job into work, maybe 2 different jobs. Of course, you can do that, but the thing is, for one of those jobs, your earnings must not be below the threshold, because that will come into play when you want to extend your visa. So that is one thing to bear in mind. And say if you're extending after 5 years, so if after 2 years you're extending, that means you must earn the minimum threshold for at least 12 months. But if you are extending after 5 years, you must earn the minimum threshold for at least 2.5 years. So that is also a requirement that you are able to, that will qualify you to be able to extend your visa. Of course, if you are not able to extend it, remember, that means the chances of getting your permanent residence will become very slim, if not impossible, because you may have to go back home. So keep that in mind. So that is one thing about the area of extending your visa. Now, another thing we should also need to look at is this: how do I know these scale-up companies? Okay, how do I get to know where they are, and how can I apply for those jobs? Now, that question is what will be answered next. So we are going to go to the Scale Up Institute website, where we are going to look at the scale-up companies there, in the scale-up companies in England. Now, so if you look at here, we have a total of 5,445 scale-up companies. Okay, but if you look at the top here, it says the data analysis by Billhorst, based on company house data, excluding charitable organizations and third sector scale-ups and listed companies. Of course, there are companies that are listed in a different category, so they are not put here under the scale-up companies. So this is a list of scale-up companies. If you can look at them, the list goes down and down and down and down. So these are some of the companies under the scale-up company. I'm going to put a link to these scale-up companies in the description of this video, so you can click there and go through it. I'm also going to put a link to the page that talks about the information regarding this visa for you to watch, for you to go there and see some of these informations. Now, how do you know some of the companies that are recruiting? That is a list of scale-up companies. There's no guarantee that all of them are recruiting. Okay, so how will you know which one is recruiting and which one is not? Well, for me, the best way to do that is to visit this list, pick the name of this company, go to Google that company, go to their website, look at their job listing in their career page or jobs page or whatever name they call it. Look at the vacancies available there, and then apply for whichever one that interests you. Now, what I have done in this while preparing for this video is to look out 3 startup companies in this list that are currently recruiting. I'm going to show you. So one of them is Acquis. Now, Acquis here, it's one of the companies I picked from in the Scale Up Institute website that I just showed you. Now, if you look at this, you see they are recruiting for customer service and claim advisor. Now, these are multiple languages. Of course, if you open this up, you'll be able to see the information, the requirements, and everything. Now, successful candidate will have an excellent level of English plus fluent in another European language. So these are the criteria you have to look at and see if you meet them or not, to decide whether or not you want to apply. So that is one of the vacancies. And we also have customer service and claim advisor. So these are customer service and claim advisor, multiple language. And this other one, I believe will be only for those who can only speak English. Okay, excellent level of Dutch and English. Okay, of course. So now that is also one thing you need to look at. Then the other one I have also looked at is this one here. It is called Active Payroll. Now, Active Payroll have lots of vacancies. As you can see, they have one for commercial advisor, they have for head of marketing, head of sales, key account manager, product owner. They have a proposal analyst, senior software developer, and UK payroll administrator. So these are some of the roles. If you go get here, you can just click on any of them. I'll click on the last one, then where you can get information about the job, look at the criteria and everything, and then apply. Now, one thing you should also know is this: the fact that it's a scale-up company and they are recruiting does not guarantee that they are eligible for this visa. So another thing you can also do is look out for information on this website. I'm sure since this visa route have become effective now, a lot of these companies will state in their advertisement if they are giving that kind of sponsoring, quote unquote sponsoring for this visa. And another thing is that also, please pay attention to the salary, because that is a requirement. So if the job does not meet the salary threshold that the government have set for this job, please do not apply, because it's going to be a waste of time. So another thing is that if it is not stated on the website that they are actually sponsoring or they're actually eligible for this, you can also ask them, probably make your application and let them know, of course, you are applying from outside the UK and all of that. So if some of them will get back to you directly and tell you, if they are sponsoring, I'm sure some of them will not come to you and say, okay, look, we are sponsoring. But if they are not, they will certainly mention it, say that to you as the reason why they may not have considered your application. And of course, for those who may have gone ahead to who go ahead to consider your application, during the interview, make sure you ask those questions so that you will know when to pull out of the process, so that you don't go through the entire process and get their offer and you're not able to resume in the UK. Okay, so that is another one. Then the last one I'll be showing you is from Allocate Software. This, I think, is a software company. It's also a scale-up company, and they have a lot of vacancies, as you can see here on the screen. So they have the DevOps engineer, they have the engineering director, they have engineering director two, engineering lead, principal performance test engineer, and all of that. If you go down, they have senior software engineer, they have senior technical architect, they have software engineer, they have lots of vacancies here. Technical product owner, they have lots of, they have product manager and many other ones here. So these are some of they don't have a junior IT support role here, which I can click and then get more details about it. But I doubt for this position like this, I really doubt. Some companies are not that transparent with in terms of their salary, how much they pay. But some of them stated there from the beginning. But some are not that transparent, like I said earlier. So, but for a role like this, I don't know. They may not be paying that much, but it doesn't harm you much to reach out to them and find out and probably apply and state that you want to take advantage of the scale-up visa to come and to work for them. So if they are if they are eligible, or if they're eligible, of course, they will let you know. But bear in mind the minimum salary threshold. That is very important. So now we have looked at these things. Now let's now go ahead to look at how much does it cost to apply for this visa. All right. So on this page now, still under the UK, the scale-up visa page in the gov.uk website, we have how much it costs. Now, when you apply for a scale-up visa, you will need to have enough money to pay the £715 application fee for visa. That is a fee you have to pay for the visa. The visa application fee is £715. And of course, since you're coming here, you have to pay for the health surcharge. Now, that is your health insurance. One benefit of being in the UK is that as you apply for your visa and you pay for this health insurance, you get to the UK, whenever you're sick and need medical attention, you wouldn't have to pay for it. Okay, even if it's an operation you'll be going for, you will not have to pay for it. Okay, so this health surcharge or health insurance, I like to call it health insurance, covers your medical expenses while in the UK. So now this is charged per year and it's charged at £624 per year. So if the visa is 2 years, that means you're going to pay twice that amount, which is about £1,248 for 2 years per person. So if you have a family and you're thinking of, okay, I want to move with my family, that means for each family member you are applying for, you'll be paying £1,248 per person. So, but again, I'm going to do a separate video where we'll be talking about things like that, whether or not you should come with your family when you're moving to the UK newly, the challenges, the opportunities. We'll be talking about that in a separate video. So keep that in mind. And of course, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that you can get notification whenever we upload new content. All right, so that is what you'll be doing. And also, you'll be supporting yourself when you arrive in the UK. So you will usually need to have at least £1,270 available, unless you're exempted. But again, this cost of for your visa application and the rest, I'm sure, I'm not saying this authoritatively, but some scale of companies may want to bear that cost for you, not for your family. Some of them may want to bear that cost, okay, and pay for your visa application and your health surcharge and all of that. And some of them may even do the application for you, okay, and you just have to go for your biometric and all of that. So that is another thing to also bear in mind. It is possible. I'm not saying it will happen. So it depends on the company that you'll be working with. All right, so that is it. And also talking about money to support yourself, you must have at least 1,270 in your bank account to show you can support yourself. Now, it's the 1,270 because you are expected to start earning. Okay, once you come here and you work for your first month, you're expected to start earning. So this money is expected to be the money you pay for your accommodation, the money you feed yourself. And of course, in the UK, once you're renting an accommodation, you will have to give a deposit. For instance, if your monthly rent is £500, you may require to give a deposit of £500 or £600, or depending on how much. On some, they will tell you 4 weeks or 6 weeks deposit. Now that money is going to be with the landlord until the day you are leaving the property. So I'm sure that is factored into this. Okay, so you can have more, but this is the least you are expected to have. Now, again, like I said, the cost of your visa sponsorship may be taken care of by your sponsor, quote unquote. I'm not saying that is possible, especially when they know you can leave them after 6 months. So some of them may not want to do that. Bear that in mind as well. All right, so that is it for the cost. Now, let us look at the English language requirements. Of course, when you're coming to the UK to work, especially from outside the UK, you need to be able to prove to them that you are able to read, to speak, and understand English. Of course, that is the lingua franca. So, but they need to be sure that you are able to communicate. You'll be able to communicate with them, especially in your place of work as well, using English. Now, there are requirements. There are things you need to prove to them that you actually understand English. So I'm going to still go back to this page and say, what are those things that can stand in as proof of your English language proficiency? Now we are on the section that talks about knowledge of English. It says you will usually need to prove your knowledge of the English language when you apply, unless you did this in a previously successful application. So if you have applied before to come to the UK and you have proven that you're proficient enough in English, you will not need this. But if you're applying for a UK visa for the first time to come to the UK under the scale of visa, you will need to prove to them that you are able to speak, read, understand, and communicate in English language. Okay, but this does not apply to all countries. All right, of course, there's a list of exempted countries there, which unfortunately I do not see any African country there. Okay, it's a common thing. I know there have been a lot of advocacy about this English language proficiency for Nigerians and some other African countries. Of course, until this is actually taken into consideration and Nigeria and other African countries taken away, we have to, of course, face this each time we are looking at this. First of all, you say you can prove your English language, knowledge of the English language by passing a secure English language test from an approved provider. So that is one of the tests. Of course, we know of the IELTS exams that many people are writing. I'm really not sure why that is not here. I don't know why they are going for the SELT, but that is it. And also, you can also use your GCSE or A-level exams. I have seen situations where just your good credit in your West African senior secondary certificate examination actually will suffice. Though not in this visa category exactly, but I've seen where people have used that to apply for admission and gotten admission where they need them to prove their proficiency in English language. So I think that could also go for the GCSE here. I'm not quite sure about that. Another thing is done your undergraduate studies and graduated from a school that uses English as the language for instructions or for lecturing. Okay, you can use these as evidence. So it's here. It said you have a degree level academic qualification that was taught in English language. If you study abroad, that if you not study in the UK, so you will need to apply through ECCTIS, formerly UK NARIC, for confirmation that your qualification is equivalent to a UK bachelor's degree, master's, PhD, or PhD. So the summary of this is that you will need to prove your English language proficiency. And I think that is actually because from my experience trying to guide people through this care visa that a lot of people are applying for, I think this is a major problem that a lot of people are facing, not because they are not able to write and pass, but because of the financial implication, especially for the IELTS exams. Kind of expensive. A lot of people don't even have time to even study for it. I know what's important for you, you make time for it. So that is just, you just have to prove your English language proficiency. So like I said, these are countries that are exempted from proving that. And unfortunately, there's no African country in that list, which is quite sad. It is quite sad, but that's a story for another day. So that is all the information I want to share with you about the Scale Up visa. And if there's anything I have missed, please put it in the comment section, and I will do justice to it. I will answer it. But if I have a lot of people asking the same questions, I'm going to do a separate video to address that. So do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. Turn on the notification button so you can get updates without notifications whenever we upload new content. And of course, please like this video. This is the only way you can tell the YouTube algorithm that this video is useful, and I can put it in front of other people who may be looking for this same information. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I hope I was able to give you value in this video. And if I did, please give it a thumbs up, please, and subscribe to my channel. That, of course, is very important. And until I see you again in the next video, please stay safe.